Lewis uses adversity and channels it into performance.
He's like an octopus all over the wheel.
That was the moment where he thought, everybody's against me. No one wants me to win this championship.
But he's got a feel beyond anything else for it.
If you think you're the real deal, then that's why you fail.
When I think of Lewis's driving towards the end of that 2021 season, I don't think I've ever seen a driver perform to a higher level than Lewis was delivering at that time. There's probably no one else on the planet apart from Lewis that's closer to his world than you. Would you take us into Lewis's world at that time and really explain to us why you think he was at such a high level and how he got there?
Lewis utilizes or uses adversity and channels it into performance. And that was the moment where he thought, everybody's against me. No one wants me to win this championship. And he took it, that was different to the previous years. He took it in a way of embracing it, not with anger, but saying, rock and roll, now we go. And as you say, the driving was just on a different planet. Yeah. Max is exceptional and has proven that in the years to come. But in these last 5 or 6 races, Lewis was just dominant. As he was also in the last race in Abu Dhabi. Controlled it all along.
What do you think makes him the 7-time, 8-time, you could argue, world champion? What's the magic he has?
You know, whatever I say now wouldn't give it justice to how good he is in many things. I'd like to use your word magic.
Yeah.
And that combines all of the skills of the genes, the talent, the nature, nurturing from his father in the early years, hard work ethic, intelligence, social intelligence, no fear attitude, constant development of himself. And probably a minute more. I have words for a minute more if I were to think about it. Because he's a 7-time world champion and won God knows how many races. Yeah. So in that respect, there hasn't been anybody else like this.
I think the other thing that I'd like to mention about Lewis as well is I remember when I first stepped into the paddock in 2009 and he'd had that great 2008 season. And it was the first time I'd met him at a race weekend. And I said to him, are you looking forward to fighting for another title? And his answer straight away, he went, if I've still got it. And I thought, wow. And I don't think people realise that self-doubt sits quite high to the surface for Lewis, and actually, again, is a really valuable tool in his locker, right?
Absolutely. What we discussed before, if you doubt, you question, you introspect, you try to improve.
Yeah.
Keeps you on your toes. That's what makes you better. If you think you're the real deal, then that's why you fail. I've seen it over and over again with people.
What's the biggest thing you've learned from him?
The constant self-development. Not only in professional function, for him it's the driving, for me it's maybe running the team, but also how he embraced this personal change. There was a moment when we had a really difficult time in 2016 after Nico won the race and the championship, and we didn't talk to each other for a few weeks. And then he came to my home because I said, we have to talk. And we spent many hours and we came out of this discussion. It was before the Christmas party, so strong. That was the foundation of our friendship and relationship in the years to come. But what I said to him is, we cannot not speak to each other. If there's something that annoys us, you just have to pick up the phone, you have to tell me. And I'll promise to do the same. Because the rule with Susie is, if there's something that makes us angry, we talk about it before we switch the light off in the evening. We don't let it drag into the next day. And a year or two passed, and we had a situation that annoyed me, and I didn't call him. And he called me and said, remember what you said to me. We have to speak to each other. And I said, you're so absolutely right. So he reminded me of what I said to him, so that he just when he thinks something is really good, or a good skill to have, or a character trait or mindset, he just becomes that. So he had to remind me, actually.
And we see you as the leader of the team, but he's the leader on his side of the garage. What's impressed you from the way you've seen him lead the team in that garage? Look, we all know the struggle of deciding what to eat, but what if I told you that Huel can make that decision easier? Their taster bundle has got 8 ready-to-drink bottles, including their black edition, which has got 35 grams of protein, 6 daily A to Z vitamins, 8 complete nutrition bars, 2 hot savoury pots, and a free Huel t-shirt. All you have to do is click the link in the description to unlock your offer now at huel.com/highperformance.
I think I really struggle with the word leader, because a leader, for me, is that you stand above your people, not with them. There's so many leaders in this organization, and everybody tries to be the best him or herself in the role. I'm trying to contribute best as a team principal. Lewis is a leader as a driver. James Allison is a leader with his engineers. And so many other people are leaders in the organization. And only if we play good in our position and we share those objectives, we're going to be successful. There's this metaphor that we have is we're not like a bunch of 5-year-olds playing football, all running behind the ball, but we let the ball run. We stay where we are, in our center of competence.
So we're very close now to you standing in the garage in Abu Dhabi, watching Lewis say his farewells. I wonder what you will quietly be thinking to yourself in that moment.
Lewis and I are going through the emotions already since a while.
Really?
Yeah.
Like what?
We need to remind ourselves that this is not the end of our friendship, and we're doing it both ways. And when there is these special situations, acknowledging that this is special. So I don't think that it's gonna hit just on this single day as the last race. I think we have those moments where we understand that's not going to be in that way anymore in the future.
Lewis just had these, as I said, it's this oodles of natural talent. And with him, he's got these tendencies and traits where when you go out in FP1, he's like an octopus all over the wheel. He'll change every setting on the wheel near enough and explore it. But it's what makes him incredible. And if I give you an example of it, there was a time where on simulation in Brazil, it said hold 6th gear up the hill. Going to 7th gear up the hill. And within 2 laps, Nico was doing exactly as we asked him to do. Within 2 laps, Lewis went, this doesn't feel right, back down to 6th, and was finding a 10th there. And it took until the end of the session before Nico saw the data and saw that. He's this optimizer that he'll use data as a starting ground, but he's got a feel beyond anything else for it. And he has no issue exploring the boundaries. And that originally manifested itself in, you'd often see him go off at turn 1. He'd find the absolute limit of braking and it would just push him wide at turn 1, then abort the lap. And one of our biggest frustrations with him was that out of 20 laps, he did 1. You're like, come on, you got to do more than that. And actually, if you look at the maturity Lewis had between 13 to now, you'll see he completes every lap. So he's now found a way of still gaining the experience of the remainder of the lap out of it. But he was this perfectionist that wanted, and braking was his strength, his forte, maximize everything under braking. And then I know the limits of the car, and then I can build from there and get into the rhythm of things. But his is, because he's explored all these boundaries, he knows in just a few laps in FP1, and he learns the track incredibly quickly, what the boundaries of the car is, what the limits are already within his tools that he has available on the steering wheel, which are quite fast for what it's worth, and understands therefore how to get the car into the right positioning for as the grip comes up. Very, very impressive. Where others are still just spending 7 or 8 laps learning the track, he's explored quite a bit of the boundaries. Now that came with some downsides often. Often he would change the car so quick on that you'd lose yourself. Certainly as engineers, it's difficult when your data's all moving, the track's moving, the grip's moving, the driver's moved everything on the steering wheel, you don't know where you are, and then he comes in and we've changed mech bell and aero balance. You think, okay, we're starting from scratch here, basically. And that's some of the reasons why at times you'll see Lewis drops backwards. And often when he jumps forwards again, he's gone to a setup that's known, and now he's back on the money. But he's able to do that, and many drivers aren't. He's able to explore off and accept they'll have a whole session, perhaps in the wrong place on setup, but he's learning from it. And that's Lewis all over.
So you have this time at Mercedes, 8
drivers' championships, 7 constructors, or the other way around?
Definitely 8 constructors.
8 constructors, 7 drivers'
and
titles. Yeah.
Contentious.
Yeah, okay, yeah. 8 constructors' titles, 8 drivers' titles, right? You can't say.
I can't say.
Don't answer.
No, I mean, it is what it is in the history books. Correct. But that was the time at Mercedes.